this is Cold Turkey throwing down with Skyrim. We left off talking to the Greybeards, and they sent us on a quest to go collect the horn of Jorgen Windcall. I don't remember anymore. Basically, we got to get some horn from some dead guy that's in some dungeon out in the middle of nowhere. And once we do that, we'll have proven our worth to the Greybeards. He also told us a lot of interesting things, gave us a shout or two, like the Windsprint shout's pretty awesome. Told us, hey, we're the Dragonborn. And we're gonna destroy all these dragons, we're gonna do all these cool things, and we can shout loud and stuff like that. There's a lot of other stuff to do in the game, as I had stated previously in several commentaries, I guess. Skyrim is a really large game, and there's just a lot of different things to do. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we're only going to be able to cover so much with Lo-Kag. That's right, Cold Turkey. The world of Skyrim is vast and massive. Even an orc can only explore so much. Lo-Kag will do the job that he is required to do, and then retire, sipping sensei on the hill. Whoa, sipping sensei. I mean drinking beer. That's right, Lo-Kag. So Lo-Kag is definitely out there doing his thing, and there's a lot of stuff he needs to be doing. For several commentaries, there's all these quests that have kind of been piling up. Well, what's a good example? Well, one of them is A Night to Remember. If you recall, I'm a gentleman in a bar. He challenged me to a drinking contest. Perhaps I won, perhaps I lost, but I woke up on the other side of Skyrim with a horrible trail of nasty events behind me. So Lo-Kag definitely was hitting the sauce a little too hard that night, you know, and there's no such thing as hitting the sauce too hard, Cold Turkey. I stand corrected. There's no such thing as hitting the sauce too hard. So Lo-Kag hit the sauce just right. Wait, not Lo-Kag. Lo-Kag, noob. Yeah, Lo-Kag. Woo, man. I'm having trouble pronouncing anything today. It's a Saturday. I just woke up. I'm tired. Anyway, so that's what we got to do. We got to figure out what to do about this late night drunken thing, and then, you know, we'll talk to one person, and they'll tell us to go talk to another person, and they'll tell us we did this horrible thing, and we got to go talk to this other person. But that's not the only thing we got to take care of. There's all these little quests that Lo-Kag is interested in before he goes and gets the horns. Another thing that we're probably going to try to cover in this commentary today is what about taking sides in this great big war? Because we got the Stormcloaks, we got the Legion. Remember when Lo-Kag first signed up, well, in the beginning of this whole series of adventures when he was escaping the town that was under the attack by the dragon, he decided to go with the Freedom Fighters at the time, even though he didn't really know what they stood for, what their ideals were, or what they were even fighting for. Is this a decision that he'll be able to support later on, or is it a decision he regret? Oh, look at that awesome shout, interrupting the fire breath of this particular blood dragon. And then I'm going to plink him with arrows a little bit. So dragons are all out and about. While I'm trying to do all these little quests, tie up loose strings, figure out what side of these wars I'm fighting on, constantly being assailed and assaulted by dragons. Hopefully they don't kill any important NPCs. I hit my orc rage. Lo-Kag, smash dragon's face! Okay, Lo-Kag, simmer down. So Lo-Kag smashed the dragon. Why am I showing all these dragon things going on? Well, when you fight a lot of dragons, eventually what you're going to find is you're going to collect a lot of dragon bones and a lot of dragon scales. And these can definitely come in handy for making armor. And remember, Lo-Kag is an orc, so he's good at smithing. Oh, here's a quick scene showing Lo-Kag going to the mage tower and doing some of the quests to talk to the mages. I think this is a hilarious quest for Lo-Kag to do, since he basically never uses any magic outside of healing magic. So, for him to be going to the mage tower and doing that is funny. I'd see Lo-Kag as a role-playing standpoint. I'd say he would did it more as like a practical joke, like just to see if they would be stupid enough to actually let him in. And then he just kind of walked out dumbfounded. I can't believe the mages actually let me into the tower. Bunch of noobs. So now another thing I'm taking care of as Lo-Kag is I'm going to every single orc settlement, and I'm challenging every single orc chief to a fist fight. Now someone who has played Skyrim and has gone through the whole game might say, well, hold on, Cold Turkey. There's no official quest that lets you do these things, or forces you to do these things, I should say. And you know what? That person is right. I'm not following an official quest chain. There was no exclamation point. There was no, you know, oh, please go get my cat out of the tree. No, no, no. Lo-Kag is running around challenging these orc chiefs to a fist fight because he wants to visit every single orc community in Skyrim. And every single orc community that Lo-Kag visits, he gets challenged to a fist fight. Another interesting thing that happens is Lo-Kag talks to this guy called Gorbosh the Iron Hand. Now, Gorbosh is a very interesting character for Lo-Kag. Not necessarily from his hometown, but close to his heart, because Gorbosh served in the Legion. Remember earlier I was talking about the conflict between the Stormcloaks and the Legion, and even though Lo-Kag doesn't really know what each side stands for yet, he initially sided with the Stormcloaks just because it seemed like the smart thing to do. So Gorbash is telling Lo-Kag something different. Gorbash tells me tales of orcs joining the Legion and how orcs are appreciated in the Legion. Lo-Kag will remember this for a further day. That's right. So this is a good thing to know. So not only am I fist fighting all these orc chiefs, but on top of that, I'm learning all these cool things about orcs. You can talk to a lot of these orcs. I can't remember the exact amount of settlements. I think there's 4 or 5 orc settlements in Skyrim. But as you go to each one, you can get into fist fights, and I don't know. It's pretty fun to do. One of the things is if you've gone far enough down... What was that? Did I just, like, spin the camera around? Maybe I was drinking a little too much that night. Yeah, that's right. One of the things is if you go down the heavy armor tree, you can get your improved damage on fists, which is pretty nice when you're wearing the gauntlets. You know, you smash people with the heavy. It kind of makes sense. So it does make the fist fights tend to go a little faster. And I was talking about last commentary, you know, Lo-Kag has Volendrung at this point, the awesomest orc hammer of all time. So with Volendrung, you know, he's definitely going out doing his thing. Here's another orc settlement I'm finding. Look at all these places I'm finding. This one's covered in stone, though. This one looks kind of funky. What do we got going on here? Oorog. Hey, baby. Hey, how's it going? What are you doing later tonight? Lo-Kag's massive throbbing hammer, Volendrung. Whoa, hold on, Lo-Kag. Hold on. Let's set the innuendos aside here and focus on the fist fighting. Jeez, I can't believe it. This is a family show, Lo-Kag. So we're going into another fist fight. Blah, blah, blah. Now, I talked about last commentary, something I probably should cover again. The whole heavy armor situation. How technically heavy armor for Diedrich heavy armor has a little bit more defense than dragon heavy armor. But when you get dragon, you can go lighter heavy armor. Somebody was mentioning in a comment, one of the nicer things, not only does the dragon armor have more readily available components so that it's slightly easier to craft, although some would disagree with that, but also dragon armor, the heavy dragon armor is technically lighter weight than the heavy Diedrich armor, although Diedrich armor only comes in heavy. So it's kind of some interesting things to notice about that. There's debates. It's the same thing with, do I use a two-handed hammer or do I fight dual wielding? You know, a lot of people like to fight with dual wielding, and they're technically correct in saying that dual wielding does do the most DPS, but the problem is you can't parry, and it doesn't have near the range as a big two-handed weapon. Plus, come on, orcs fight with big two-handed things. Hammers, axes, it's just the way orcs do it. So I've been showing all this footage of me killing dragons, and there I showed you Lo-Kag leveled up his smithing to 100, got the ability to make dragon plate. I've got all my ingredients, I'm at a forge, and now I'm going to forge my suit of dragon plate armor. Now you might notice right away when you're looking at the pictures of all the dragon plate, whoa, 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 hold on, Hull Turkey, you might be saying to yourself, that dragon plate doesn't look like dragon plate. It looks different than what I have in my game. Well, remember, I like to download mods that tweak textures or settings in the game. So this dragon plate will probably look a little bit different than the dragon plate you're used to. It has more of a reddish hue to it, a glow, a tint, if you will. I don't know, I think it looks pretty cool. And so you can see there's kind of a close-up of Lo-Kag while he's telling the guard to smeg off. So back to this other quest I was talking about earlier, where I'm following this trail of debauchery and insanity when basically I went out, I got drunk. There's the Sam guy who challenged me to the drinking contest in the beginning, so to speak, when this whole thing started. So I'm going to corner him in this weird, this is a weird place too. It's like a mystical portal led me to this pocket dimension. So it's kind of a bizarre thing to be going through. And you get there and whoa, dun 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 dun. What do you know? It turns out Sam is Sanguine, the Diedrich prince of, I think it's debauchery and chaos and drinking and prostitution. I don't know. He's got a list or something like that. And so when you talk to him, one of the things he gives you is a Sanguine Rose, which is a pretty cool staff, which lets you summon little demon minions that are really good at tanking things, and they're not so great at doing damage in a lot of situations, but they're good at drawing aggro and tanking things, in my opinion. Another interesting thing that you can do is when you go and visit this monument kind of up in the north by the Wizard College, you can get into the Star. This Diedrich princess lady, she's like, oh, go into the Star, you fight this guy who's taken over the Star. He's pretty much a total punk. Time to dish out some orc justice. The problem with this guy is when you fight him, he can kill you pretty quickly. So what I recommend is that you drink potions of magic resistance, fire, light resistance, you know, ice resistance, lightning resistance. Basically, get a lot of resistance, get some health regen up, and then charge in and smash him as quickly and as heavily as you can with your massive throbbing orc hammer of doom. Now you might be saying, well, Cold Turkey, I don't have a massive throbbing hammer of Orc Doom. And to that I will say, that's too bad. You should definitely look at getting one. So he died pretty quick, and then of course the Lady of the Star talks to me, teleports me out, and this will give you a Shazra star. I'm probably mispronouncing that. The star is pretty nice because it helps you a lot with enchanting. That's something I haven't really talked about a lot, but I'll talk about it briefly now, is throughout the game you can enchant items, and when you enchant items, you make them stronger. Maybe they give you bonus damage, maybe they have elemental resistance, you can disenchant items. There's just all kinds of things you can do with enchanting. I could probably spend a whole commentary on it, but there's no need to. So this Frost Dragon is attacking. You noticed earlier I used the Sanguine Rose to summon that little demon guy, and there he is right there holding his weapon. One of the great things, as I was talking about earlier, is notice the dragon lands to fight the summoned demon, which is great. That lets me get up to the side or the back of the dragon, and I can just swing with Volendrung all day long while the dragon is focusing on a summoned minion. This is a really good showcase on, in my opinion, why the Sanguine Rose is a pretty sweet item to get. And of course, you'll remember this footage from the new intro that is playing at the beginning of the commentary, where Lo-Kag mounts the dragon and smashes his face into the ground with Volendrung, Orc Hammer of Doom. No dragon will stand before the might of the Orc Lo-Kag. He smash all. Lo-Kag smashes all. So now we're going to take care of course, you might be saying, whoa, whoa, Cold Turkey, what happened to your fancy dragon armor? Now you got Daedric armor on. Well, like I was saying earlier, I made the dragon armor, but the ingredients to the Daedric weren't that far off either. I mean, yeah, they're a little harder to get. That was, of course, the Whirlwind Sprint, where you go forward a little bit. So now is the time to talk about getting into the city, and Windhelm, of course, is the city I'm discussing here, and seeing what's going on with these rebel forces, these Stormcloaks. One of the things that happens when you get into the city right away is you can see the city is just infested and prevalent with racism. Orcs, Dark Elves, things like this, they aren't appreciated here in Windhelm. In Windhelm, you're either a Nord or you're not a Nord. So it's extreme racism, and you hear this conversation happening with this poor Dark Elf woman who's getting accosted and, you know, pushed down. She's not getting beaten up or anything, but verbally, and she probably will get beat up later on. And they can kind of tell you what's going on, why people are doing certain things in the city. Racism is prevalent. This is definitely a big strike for the Stormcloaks in Lo-Kag's mind. Because you got to remember, he's not a Nord, he's an Orc. So when he sees this kind of racism, yeah, it might not exactly offend him to the core. He's definitely no crusader of causes, but at the same time, that's going to put him on opposing sides of the ideology that's spread and shared through these Stormcloaks. And that definitely doesn't bode well for Lo-Kag joining their side of the fight. Another thing we want to take care of while we're in the city is we have heard rumors, tales, if you will, of a young man named Aventus Arantino trying to summon the Dark Brotherhood in order to take care of an issue that he has had. So what's been going on with this young man? Well, when we walk up and talk to him, we're going to pretend to be the Dark Brotherhood. A particular funny way to do that is to not respond to anything he says and to remain silent through as much of the conversation as possible. But we're going to pretend to be the Dark Brotherhood. Basically, this kid was in an orphanage, and the runner of the orphanage was one of those classic old haggard, mean, nasty old women who looks sweet and innocent on the outside and to the public eye, but in reality is very nasty and horrible to the children. So Lo-Kag is going to pretend to be the Dark Brotherhood and take care of that for Aventus Arantino. More out of something to do than anything. Although I don't think Lo-Kag has any great sense of justice when it comes to the issues of childcare. You never know. So when we talk to Ulfric Stormcloak while we're still in the city, and then eventually we're going to be talking to his lieutenant or his second in command, just to figure out what's going on with the Stormcloaks. So remember, just a few seconds ago, Lo-Kag found out that racism is the prevalent issue. You see, the Stormcloaks only want people who are born of a Nord who are fighting for a Nord cause. So their cause doesn't really line up with Lo-Kag. You know, when he was running from that dragon in the very beginning of the game, I think it made sense for him to go with the Freedom Fighters, even though he didn't quite understand what they stood for. But now that we have all this information, who is Lo-Kag really going to side with? Well, let's go back into the past a little bit. Diddle-a-doo, diddle-a-doo, diddle-a-doo.
Many orcs leave the stronghold to join the Legion. They welcome our skill in battle and smithing, and we welcome the chance to see the world.
Exactly. You see, the Imperials welcome orc skill in fighting, and they welcome their skill in smithing. And that is why Lo-Kag is going to join the Legion. Now we get to take care of Gerald the Kind, this mean, nasty old woman who's been running these kids into the ground. I tell her that Aventus Arantino says hello. She responds in a pretty nasty way. Kaboom! Lo-Kag smash, haggard old woman. She no stand chance against Orc Hammer of Doom. Booyah! And that's what you get for being a mean old nasty woman. She drops a book, the pig children. So we killed her. The kids,
Someone has killed Grillin!
they're hilarious. Some of the things they say, that's why I increased the volume here on what they're saying. Let's listen to some of these.
Hooray! Grillin the kind is dead at last.
That's right, she's
We're
dead.
saved.
Yeah, they're saved.
Yay!
Yep,
Aventus really did it.
he did.
When Aventus escaped, Grilla got meaner than
Grilla got-
ever. I really... Hurrah! Hurrah!
Oh,
Kill one person and you can solve so many problems.
We
I wonder
love
at
you,
the
Dark Brotherhood!
possibilities.
and that's pretty much the best creepy one right there. Kill one person and you can solve so many problems. I wonder at the possibilities. Just think of what Lo-Kag has helped put into that poor innocent little girl's mind. Now she's going to go out in life thinking, oh, I have a problem, I'll just kill somebody. But enough talking about those orphans. I'm sure they'll get along just fine. Lo-Kag is now officially joining the Legion, the Imperial Legion. Like I said, we got through all the ideologies. We're not going to join the racists. Instead, we're going to join a place where orcs are welcome for their skill with weapons and their skill with forging things. Sounds like a win-win. Before I can officially join, she wants us to prove our worth. Lo-Kag, what do you think about all that? Lo-Kag will willingly prove his worth and destroy the bandits that are blocking my path. This is Lo-Kag. Thanks for watching.